All right, so my name's Cole, and today I'm going to be showing you my van here. It is for sale, and there is a shorter video if you're looking for something shorter. This is more of a walkthrough opposed to like a quick tour. Let's just go ahead and get started. So on the outside, we have some motion sensor lights, and we also have some blacked out rims with winter tires, the snow rated, and we also have air springs under here. And that's pretty much it for the outside. We can talk about it a little bit more later, but everyone's probably wanting to go inside, so let's take a look. So it's kind of like a cabiny feel is what I was going for. From the outside, we have this cool pop-up bamboo table. So if you're hanging out, you can like be hanging out, playing frisbee, or you know, fishing or something like that, and you could have like, some drinks on here, like a snack, whatever like that, without having to go inside. So that's what that's for. Underneath here, we got a little bit of storage, which is pretty cool because it's the only spot like this in the van. It's got, if you take a look over here, it's the only spot that actually has access both in the van and outside the van. And then also down here, we have this super powerful inflator, compressor, and you can inflate your bike tires, your paddle boards, your beach balls, as well as the giant van tires, which is pretty awesome because if you're going down the road and you think that you're running out of air and you're in the middle of nowhere, you can inflate your own tires. It's super powerful and has high amperage, and a long cable, so you can get around the whole van. Also, we have some composting stuff down here, which we'll get to later when we get to the toilet. Other thing going on right here is we have, this is the inlet for the 50 gallons of fresh water. That's 50 gallons. That's huge. I've been doing a lot of tiny houses, working for a tiny house company, and 50 gallons is usually what they put in a tiny house. So lots of water there. We just have a vent here for the stove. And then if you come around on this side, there's a spot here for a little hand axe, hatchet, which is kind of cool. And we have the heater for the van. So this is what will heat your space. And it's made for an RV. So this thing really will heat this space really quickly, which is awesome to have someone with so much power in a small space. So you can really just get in your van and pump it up to exactly where you want. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna get in. And we have some bamboo flooring here, which is really just durable and tough, and I think it's really pretty. Also does not show dirt really well, so that's awesome, because the winter life can be a little messy. Also cleans really easily, and then underneath is waterproof flooring, so you can even get in here with like wet gear, dripping everywhere, and it's actually all okay. Some aluminum edge protectors here, just so you don't bang anything up. It's really durable. Here we have our propane. So there's a lot of propane in this van because it is very, very efficient power-wise. So some vans are all electric, and you have to have huge systems, or you have to have like a lot of solar power or a place to plug in like all the time. Anyway, so I did gas in my van. But yeah, we have a propane detector here. It's not the same as a carbon monoxide detector, so it needs to be low to the ground here, so it can detect propane if you have a leak. We have a cool pop-up table here. So pops up, it makes like kind of like a dinette. This is like the dinette little spot. So we have a cushion that goes on top of the toilet here. One person sits here, you can have your coffee and your lunch here. And then these little rails here, these teak rails, actually act as rails for the other person to sit in the dinette table. So now you can sit here, your partner can sit there, and you guys can share a meal. Another cool thing that this board can do is it can act as more counter space, which is really cool. You'll realize when you get inside the van though, there is tons of counter space for a van, but now there's more. And it's great because my partner and I like to cook, and we'll have like pots and pans here, maybe Instapot here making rice, and then, oh, we want a salad too, so now we need, you know, more counter space, and that's what this provides. So pretty cool. And then it just pops right out and then stores right underneath the bed, just like that. Onto the shower. So this is a wet bath shower. We have a urine diverting composting toilet, which is pretty awesome. And then we have a shower. So the first thing I'll talk about is this awesome door. I really love this door. It's so small. It keeps the water out completely, unlike a curtain, which is what a lot of people do. It's translucent, not all the way, but slightly. So you'll get light in from the outside inside, which is nice because it makes it feel not like a dark little corner that you're in. It makes you feel like it's more airy and flowy, you know? And then another cool thing about the door is when it retracts, it squeegees all the water off from the inside, which is awesome because it keeps it nice and clean. So the shower, you have this really nice matte black, oh yeah, shower wand. And I think the best way to use this shower is as a Japanese style. So you can like sit and, you know, shower while you're sitting, or you can pop this guy right out with a quick release from the back, and then you can have a standing shower. And I can stand up in here too, which is amazing. And I'm 6'2", so I'm pretty much the top of the range. And then we have temperature controls down here. And then as for the composting toilet, it just opens up. There's a bag down here that has the bag for compostables. So the solids will go in there. And then there's a funnel here that goes down and underneath the tank, or underneath the van, into the gray water tank for the liquids. So I don't know if you know anything about urine diverting, but what it does is it basically keeps everything way less smelly and way neater and easier to dispose of. So that's pretty cool, because no one wants to deal with that. All right. Next thing we got is, I like to call the information panel. I'm a bit of like a, I know I said cabin, but also like this kind of like spaceship feel, like when I'm going around traveling to different places and planets and things like that. So we have all the information here. So start at the top, we have a carbon monoxide detector. We have gas in here, so we have to be careful about fumes. So that's what that is here for. And I guess above it actually is our vent fan. And what that does is it keeps the fumes out, as well as the hot water heater fumes here. And it keeps safe air, dispersion in the van. It has a lot of cool features here. It can go up and down, it can go in or out, as well as thermostat controlled. So super cool fan there. That's the max air fan. And then down here we have two vintage bulb lights for aesthetic and color, warmth, and then we have the puck lights. So if you'll look around, you'll see these circular little lights around. There's 8 of them, and what's cool about those are that they're sectional. So for instance, when my partner and I were traveling in this van, she would be reading a book, would fall asleep. I would get up for some midnight snacks, and I didn't want to wake her up. So all the lights are off. I come over here, I pop the midnight snack light on, use the bathroom, tap that one on, and don't wake her up. So pretty cool for that, as well as just keeping the lights down low if you're sensitive to light when it's dark outside. And then below that we have a touchscreen, pretty cool, wow, dimmable controller. So all the lights dim together, so you can have them down low or bright. You can also do different modes, get crazy with that. And then down below we have a light for underneath here. You can change the color, you can change the brightness, pretty cool. In this awesome, beautiful wooden box here. And then we have a hydrometer here, hydrometer. that measures the amount of water in the air, which is nice because there's a bunch of wood in here, and it's just kind of nice to know that sometimes, as well as a thermometer. And you'll see down here we also have a thermostat. And what's cool is they double check each other, which you're not going to need all the time, but sometimes you might wonder if it's faulty, and now you know it's not, because there's a dual check system here. We also have a motion sensor light here, or not light, but a motion sensor app. So it tells your phone if you see motion in here, a little bit of security if you want that. And then we have the inverter. You can turn it on or off from right here, which is cool because if you're ever trying to go in like a low power mode, maybe you need to save a little energy before you get your next boost from the sun or whatever, you can turn that off just here easily, which is really cool. Another thing about security is if you'll come around here, you'll see up here there is a camera that's watching the inside of the van here. If you come around right over here, you'll see there is another camera, and what that does is basically like a dash cam. So what's cool about that is you can see your van from anywhere in the world. If you park it, need to go on an airport flight, go home for Christmas, leave your van somewhere cool, you can watch your van 24/7. Pretty cool. Doesn't even require a subscription service, which is amazing. It was hard to find that, to be honest. But that's a pretty cool feature. There's also, talking about security, we got locks on the cab door here. Super strong steel cab door here, also insulated, which is awesome because most vans you'll see there isn't some kind of giant built-in door here that has insulated panels. And what this does is allows this whole giant window glass in the front of the van to not affect your cold or your hot temperature. And it's a small vehicle and it's being beat on by the sun sometimes, you know, you're in all different kinds of weather. So this really secures your cozy space a lot by having this. It's also nice for safety. I luckily didn't have any problems when I was traveling, but it feels more cabiny and secure having this in here. And these are plexiglass, so nice and strong and supported as well. Door opens up and you'll see you can cross right in here. So I'll show you, you can like walk in too, you don't gotta crouch down too bad, but you get up here and then you're driving and then you park and you're right in the back. And again, you can lock that from the front or from the back. There's a key for the front. Up here, the little specials that we have that are a little different than the stock van is that we have some lights, bigger mirrors. We have this bungee rope so you can keep a lot of cool gear up here, frisbees, soccer balls, whatever. Hooks for towels, whatever. Carbon monoxide detector again up here. Again, safety is important. We have a 120 house outlet right here, which is pretty cool. So you can plug in your hair dryer while going on the road. Pretty fancy. And then we also have a button here, which is controlling while you're driving. There's a smart isolator that charges from your alternator. So as soon as the van battery that's driving the van is charged, it will send that power straight to the house battery, which is pretty cool because it only takes like an hour and a half of driving to fully charge. So lots of ways to charge your battery here. We'll get into more when we get in the back. Now we're in the kitchen. We were kind of always in the kitchen as a van. Come on, guys. But now we're really in the kitchen. We have a stainless steel sink here, like kind of a drop-in, which is nice and seamless, which I love. Some cool tile here. Which is cool about this tile is that it is put in with a flexible grout. Never gonna have any cracking on that, which is pretty cool. Some stainless steel magnetic knife racks. Everybody loves those. And then we have our water here, our sink with a drop-down spout, which is pretty cool. And then above we have another information panel, one that can be hidden, which is nice. We have our solar charge controller here, so you can see how much our solar panels are charging, how much is discharging, all that good stuff. We also have a bubble level. Can turn our water pump on and off, which is pretty cool. Our dump valve on and off, which is awesome, so you don't have to get out to like dump your water. So if you're in a place that's like, I don't know, some place that you know your gray water is nice and safe and you're using biodegradable soap and you're in the forest, you can just, you know, drop your safe gray water there. Not technically gray water in that respect, but just your water waste without getting outside, which is awesome because it could be cold and muddy, all this other stuff. We also have a temperature controller for our fridge. So if you notice, we have this giant fridge for a van. Again, I like living in a house, but I like taking my house with me. So I opted to get a chest freezer, which is great for a lot of reasons. Some reasons are that it's top loading. So what that means is really efficient. When you open the door of something that's front loading, it doesn't matter in a house, but in a van, you're losing a lot of cold air really quickly. This keeps all the cold air in because heat rises, right? And if you take a look in here, you should definitely take a look in here. It's deep. It's 3.5 cubic feet in there, so huge. And if you want it colder, hotter, I mean, this thing's a freezer, so you can get it all the way down to freezing if you really wanted to, but there's a controller up here to do that. This also tells you where your battery percentage is, which is, I mean, you gotta know where that's at all times. That's how the van runs. So you can see here we have 60% going on right now. It's been a very cloudy day, rainy here in Oregon. So it's gonna start charging maybe when the sun comes back out. And then we have a cool thing over here. I'll turn it on here. That's a gas solenoid. So what that is a safety switch basically. It does not let gas flow through any of the lines if it is off. And it has to have electricity to be on. So there's no faulty accidental come-ons. You'll know exactly when your gas is on, when it's off. Having gas in a small space, you have to be very safe. So there's a lot of different things you'll see that I talk about that keeps it safer for people to live in. So that's pretty cool. And then we have just some pantry space for food items, bowls, plates. It has this weather coating on it, which is nice because some stuff spills. It doesn't mess up the wood, doesn't absorb in the wood. You'll also see there's some really nice kind of barn style hinges on here and some really pretty flowers that my partner wood burned in there. So that's pretty nice. We have a spice rack here. Got some nice coffee in there right now. And that's pretty much it for the kitchen. Oh, I guess we do have these doors down here, which houses the fire extinguisher and the trash can, and then has the P-trap, the water filter, all the van battery and breakers are down there. I'm not going to show you those right now, but that's where you would get in if you need to access it. Just so you can see, this is removable, so then you can access all the wiring and fuse boxes and all that stuff easily. Okay, and then we're gonna come around, I'm gonna start showing you the stove and the cooking area. So we got some hooks here for, you know, hot mitts or rags or whatever, which is pretty nice. And then we have more space for pantry items, maybe some pretty ones that you wanna store. It's kind of breathable, which is a nice place for that. And then we have the stove. Oh, this is such a nice stove. So you just crank it there, the gas comes in. I did turn the solenoid off, so it's gonna run out in just a second. But both of these burners get pretty hot, so you can cook some like full meals on it, which is pretty cool. We have an oven here. Having an oven in a van, wow, pretty sick. So we got oven there, and then this is that cabinet I showed you earlier that you can see from the outside also. So you can keep things that are really kind of flexible, you know, maybe we'll use them inside and outside. Great cabinet for that. A little storage on the side here for notebooks, pens, pencils, whatever. That's what we use it for. You can use it for whatever. And then another outlet here. All the outlets are capable of 15 amps, so you can run just pretty much any household item on them, which is awesome to have in a van. We have a 2,000 watt inverter inside the doors here. Another cool thing is we have Tons of drawers. And these drawers, I love the design of them. Oh my goodness. I got them from a recycle store and refinished them because I just love this like really cool shape, really unique. And I just love that. So this one is lockable, just in case there's anything. It's a hidden lock. You don't have to activate it, but once it's activated, no one's getting in there, which is just nice to have a little bit of like security, just if you need to hide a thing or two. Or if you have kids, they can't get in that one, kind of thing. If they don't know where the lock is, that is. Another cool thing is this little guy, which is flexible as well. This whole space actually is what I call the flex space, because you can take this thing out and you can put suitcases in there or whatever. You can have a dog, you know, a small dog house down there, a cat house, whatever. Or you can have this down there, which is a freezer or cooler. So it can be a beer fridge if you just want to have a dedicated beer fridge. That's how we use it sometimes. And then other times, I mean, we put some ice cream in there because I love ice cream, even when I'm in the desert. So that's pretty cool. And you can customize the temperature there as well. And it just slides down there and Velcros in. So it actually doesn't slide around when you're driving. Speaking of, there's lots of things around here. These locks, magnetic catches, the little like V catch. You have to have all these things. And that's the cool thing about having a used van, because you know everything works. That has, I mean, a van is like taking a house through earthquakes constantly. So they have to be really strong, flexible in a way that allows the movement of the van, and also just locked, so that stuff doesn't come flying out. I've learned the hard way, trust me. So again, we got these drawers here, different kind of locks on these, really secure. They have lots of weight. You can put lots of weight in them, so bigger locks. This drawer here has a cool little safe. So now you can put passports, money, you know, whatever safety items you have here. There's a key here. I'm not gonna show you where I put it, but there's a Velcro spot that's a hidden spot, so you can find your own spot if you want, which is pretty cool. And then, you know, some storage in there. And then we have like a little, just an open shelf down here. Good place to, I don't know, put a gaming console, put blankets, towels, whatever you want on display. Easy access. Here we have, you know, our kitchen utensils. And then in here we have a bigger space. And right now what's in here is these guys, which I'll show what these really pretty things are for. They allow privacy from these really cool plexiglass windows I showed earlier. So that's the orientation. It's like a mosaic landscape kind of, or more of like a Monet painting, I'd say. And then you'll see there's more screws here to secure them tightly, but I'm not gonna do it right now. But then you have security from light, so people can't tell you're in the van, and also they just can't see in, which is cool. So that's what those are for. And then these act as extra cushions for while you're doing your dinette. You got a little cushion so you don't have to sit on, you know, top of a plastic toilet. And then they also, I'll show you later, but these windows back here in the van are heavily tinted, which is awesome because it doesn't allow people to see in very well. But if you want to completely black it out, these fit in there perfectly. And they have this really durable canvas back, which is great because some moisture can transfer through windows. So this canvas back is really strong and durable. And then they have this really soft, like homey, cozy, lean against fabric for the insides. My partner made these and I really like them. Okay, all right, so we talked pretty much about this whole area. And just quickly, I'll talk about these little black things right here are just some USB outlets. So we have tons of them in the van. I'm kind of like a techie sometimes, so you'll notice there's lots of AC outlets, lots of USB outlets, AC outlet, more inside the cabinet here. They're all over the place, which is great because then you don't have cords that are just running everywhere. You have exactly the place where you want to plug them in. This is great for appliances, you know. This one is good for, well, that's up to you. All right. So we'll talk about this area. So I am a videographer, and I like having my camera with quick access. So many times while I was traveling, and actually did a van before this van, and I'm like rummaging, I'm like, ooh, a beautiful elk. Where is my camera? I'm like rummaging through bags, and like the elk's gone, way gone. So this is like a quick access panel, and you can see that's not going anywhere. It's locked in. And it just requires a lever to come undone. And now it's loose, but it still cannot come out. Which is cool because you can, if you're just chilling, that's all you need. But if you're traveling, you'll need to secure the lever. And then there's a little button on the side here, and you just press it in, and then your camera comes right out. And now you have it. And then when you're done, all it takes is putting the tripod mount in there, sliding it up, it's locked in. And then you can secure the lever back here if you want. So that's pretty cool. And then we have the vanity. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. There's a skylight above me. So cool to have a skylight. You can see stars, especially like when you're in a place that's like national forest and there's just like no light pollution. You can just like see stars from inside the van. Just lets in a lot of natural light, makes the space feel a little less boxy, claustrophobic. It's pretty cool. It's a really awesome one. It's really waterproof, which is awesome. Made for vans, and then it also has a blackout shade for if you don't want to wake up with the sun, you're out late, don't tell me what you're doing. That's pretty cool. And then you also have a bug net if you want to open it all the way up. It's 3 locking positions, but this is the all the way up one. Pretty great. You can feel some natural air. You can let in some good air, some wind. You also can stand on the, I'm not gonna do it right now, but you can stand on these and you can stick your head out the window, which is fun. So yeah, you can have the bug net open, so if it's mosquito season, you're not getting mosquitoes inside, but you have fresh air. Okay, on to the bed area. So it's kind of overkill, and you don't have to have it in here, but I like it. I like watching like Miyazaki movies and things like that when I'm out in the forest sometimes. So this cool monitor just like rotates around, and magnetics here, so when you're traveling, it can't go anywhere. But you can watch while you're making a meal or something like that. And then also, I'll show you later too, but rotates so you can watch in bed. You can watch movies in bed. And as you'll see, we have some nice speakers there. Bluetooth and hardwired connection to the TV here. So you can watch movies with really nice sound or jam out to some awesome music, which is really cool. Not to mention that I upgraded the speakers in the van in the front too. So good music wherever you are in the van. The vanity. Now we're here. So this is a request from my partner. She likes to get ready and look pretty, which I do too. I just don't put a lot of time into it, I guess. Maybe she should be on the camera, not me. But you might even see her in the reflection here. But yeah, so we got big mirrors, lots of space for medicine cabinet kind of stuff and vanity kind of stuff. So really nice. And then we also have a USB outlet here for charging devices, all that kind of stuff. So that's that, and it just locks right in with this little chain. And it goes out flat, which is really cool, because she wanted a little desk to write notes on, and you can crisscross applesauce here. And also, this is a 10-inch mattress. You can have a 6 or 8, and you have way more room. It just depends on how much cushion you like and how much space you want to sacrifice. That's the whole van scenario, is how much space do you want to sacrifice for the things you love. And I tried to find a happy medium for all of that. Something really awesome in this van that I actually installed way later after we started traveling, because I run hot. So I like airflow a lot, and also have to be careful because airflow can get kind of loud, and this thing will provide really quiet airflow wherever you are. It 360s, like what? It's so cool. This thing spins in like all directions. So also has a timer on it, which is cool. So you can put it on before you go to bed and it will just cut off in the middle of the night or whatever. Maybe leave it on while you're cooking and you forget, it can go off. Pretty cool. You can fan yourself while you're here. You also can fan yourself right in the face in bed, which is what I like. Actually, it's so pinpointy that I can get myself without getting my partner, which is just beautiful. So that's a really cool fan. It locks into place right there with a little lock switch. So that's pretty cool. Moving back to this side, we have this desk here. So it goes down and you'll see you'll get a full width of a queen size bed. Again, I like being at home, or at least feeling the comforts of home. So here we have a queen size bed with this down, and then it pops up. It's got 2 latches on either side of it. Pops up, and now we have a full desk. And so what I built this for, and what I used it for, was to do mobile video editing. So if you're into like video editing or music making or something like that, where you need a computer, have an extra monitor, computer, all these charging USB cables and whatnot, and you have this huge long desk for like MIDI keyboards and computer, whatever you want, mouse pad, all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. Tons of storage actually in here too. So this is what I call like the wardrobe, basically. This is where we kept all our clothes, lots of space down there. And then under there is also a signal booster. So if you're out in a place that has low signal, or signal's having trouble getting inside the van, you're in a big metal box, that helps boost the signal. Pretty cool. We boost. You guys have probably heard of that, maybe. It's really nice. And then I'm gonna hop up in this bed. I'm gonna take my shoesies off. And you'll notice there's no grabs here. And the reason for that is when you're on the bed and you get off, you don't hit any with your legs or your body, which is really nice. I have stored a step stool in here before, so that's a good spot for that. If you need a step stool, you can also step in it and then just step up. And now I'm in the bed, which is pretty cool. Yeah, again, it's queen size. We have lots of stuff going on in the bed, so I'll just show you a little. Maybe I'll show you from behind with that, but all these cabinets, even the ones behind here, are for more storage space. So I'm really big on storage because you can't do a lot of stuff. You can't go very far if you don't bring a lot of stuff, and I like feeling really cozy, so it's nice to have books and, you know, my favorite things with me. Here are the other 4 switches of the puck lights. So those 4 up there were for the 4 in the front. These 4 are for sectionals in the back. Pretty cool. Voltage meter for the battery there. It actually helps you, if you know the conversion rate, it helps you know where you're at. If you just get panicky in the middle of the night and can't run up there, you have that information right here, which is pretty cool. We also have cigarette lighter, 12 volt outlet, and a lot of USB charging, fast charging too. You'll notice there's a brush here. So this is just kind of a cable management brush. There's a power strip in here for like 120, just a normal household strip. So you can plug a lot of things in there without it being bulky and a bunch of kind of ugly wires sticking out. Lots more storage. Again, all these open up. And then there's an open shelf here with, you know, we have a little succulent and some books, salt lamp, and a humidifier, which is nice for some essential oils to be in the space. You'll also see these around. Now these are really cool. These are Molly rivets, and what those are like these rivets that go into the van like skeleton basically. And then these are stainless steel eyelet bolts that go into that. You can hang off this. I can hang my body weight off these. There's multiple throughout the van. You can actually, and I've done it, sounds ridiculous, and it's not really that useful, but cool. You can hang an Eno from this one to the one over there. The one over there beside the light, yeah, pretty cool. And you can hang right over this whole area. If you need just to squeeze a friend in for the night and you don't want to share a bed, or you have 3 or 4 people, I mean, You never know. But anyway, pretty cool. You can also do a lot of other stuff with it. All right, other things going on in the bed are the speakers. Like I said, really cool. Make an awesome surround sound movie experience whenever the TV is in front of you. Speakers are right behind your ears. You also can do, you know, movie way, you know, this way with the movie here. And again, you can bed computer here. We also had those little crazy creaks or whatever they call them in your neck of the woods, but the little seats with the backs on them that are really squishable. So that's nice in the bed for a long time. So I think what we're gonna do now is go outside and take a look at the back of the van. Alrighty, so before we walk to the back of the van and I show you the rest, I just want to say if you're still with us, thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching. There's a shorter video if that's what you're into, but if you're not, let's keep going. So you'll see at the back, we'll have a security light up here, a motion sensor solar powered security light. There's also two more. Nice thing about them is that they're solar powered, so they won't run out of electricity. For some reason your van dies if you're not with it. One reason I really like them is because my partner and I left our van in Reno while we flew home for Christmas for like 5 days. And it was parked on the street, and it was just nice to have a little bit of security. If someone passes by in the night, a light turns on. So that's that. We'll open up these doors here. They open up nice and wide. And then if you guys aren't familiar with the Ford Transit, they unlock and open up all the way, which is really cool. Kind of provides this like seamless experience for whenever you're hanging out in the bed and you're looking out in nature. We like to back into like a really pretty place with a view, so that just makes it really nice to wake up to. So up here, you can hop up in the van if that's you know, what you want to do. It's a little difficult though. It's a pretty high bed, and I'll show you why in a second. But we have a handle here, really strong, another one here. So, you know, you can like hoist yourself up and inside. I'm not gonna do it right now because I'm wearing my shoes, but that is how you do that. So on the back, you'll see a little antenna. That's our Wii booster that I talked about up the top there. Underneath, we have the garage. So what's cool about the garage is, well, it's a garage. You can put a lot of stuff in here. And I'll show you. You can put a mountain bike, a full-size mountain bike, extra large frame, which is what I'd ride, in here. So your bike latches onto this thing, you take the tire off, the rest of the bike goes in. Still have storage for other small stuff beside of it. We have a telescoping ladder here. This comes with the van. Allows you to maintain the top of the van if you need to. The solar panels, clean them, something like that. It's pretty cool. It breaks down really small, which is pretty awesome. Snow chains in here, little garage light when it's dark. We have a water filter here and a water hose. So this allows you to get water from somewhere a little farther that your van can't back up into, a friend's house, whatever it is, and get water from them. And it breaks down really small, which is really nice and not rubbery and kinky, you know. This is a really nice hose, woven. And then you'll hook up this water filter to it, and you'll make sure that your water that's coming into your drinking water is nice and safe and doesn't have bacteria and won't do weird things if it sits over time. That's one that's really important to have. Other things back here is we have a plug. So this red cord here allows you, it's very long too, there's extra back there. It allows you to like plug in and charge your van battery off a usual like 20 amp outlet. So you can do it at an RV park or a friend's house or the rec center, wherever you can get power. If you need to just boost your power a little bit more or just skip your whole system, there's a way to do that inside that I've set up, that you can just skip your system and just run like a straight up heater off it or something without even messing with your battery, which is pretty cool. Another thing we got is a little outdoor shower. Which is cool about this is that it's like a little gear shower. You know, you can like, oh, sorry about that camera. You can like wash off your sandy gear, your muddy shoes, whatever, do it outside. It's not hooked up to hot water. It could be, but what's cool about this, in the summer, you could even take a shower outside, you know, hang it up on the door, that kind of thing. And it's got a cool little stretchy hose, which keeps it nice and compact. Lots of space here to store stuff against here. We had an axe, full-size maul, and some other things just strung up against this board, so that's kind of cool for that. You'll see back here, this is the propane locker. So what's cool about this is that actually another couple do this, and they're this really awesome engineer that just has, actually, yeah, I'll mention them, Fallout Ride. Yeah, they have a really cool channel, and a lot of my decisions were based off theirs because they just had really well thought out systems, and I really appreciated that. It was less aesthetic, more all really thought out. So this is an ode to them. It's a propane locker. It's neoprene sealed so that the propane tank stays in here. And if you know anything about propane, it has to regulate itself to get from the pressure inside the tank to get to low pressure in your devices. So that regulation happens in here, and there's a vent underneath the van that lets it fall out of the van without it coming into your space, but lets it be inside, because I really appreciate having a van that's a little less like big, I'm camping in my van vibes. So it's kind of nice, you're in the city, you kind of get mistaken maybe as like a work van, as just a normal van, you know, maybe a kind of camper van. So it's kind of nice for that, just a little less things hanging off and whatnot. But they have these 3 hooks that come off, and then you take off the lid, which I guess I can show it real quick. Take off this lid, and then your propane tank's inside with the regulator and the gas turn-off valves, as well as the solenoids in there. So you just take that out or refill it whenever you're needing to refill your propane. Over here we have a pressure gauge, an easy one to spot, so you don't have to open up the locker. It's safe to have in your space. It's a pressure gauge for the amount of gas coming through. So that's nice because you know if your appliances are safe, if there's the right amount of pressure, if you even have gas, which is sometimes something you need to know. If you're like, why is this thing not working? Oh, you can just look back here and know you're out of gas. Another thing going on, back here you'll see that's their water tank right there, the 50-gallon water tank. So it's underneath the bed, and I designed this so that the battery system and the water tank are on 2 separate sides. You have to think out a little bit of balancing because you don't want your van to be off balance. It'll mess up your tires and all kinds of things. So anyway, 50 gallons of water, pretty heavy, but there's a transparent tank so you can see how much water you have, as well as a max line there. It's nice to know when your water's running out, just so you have a gauge. And then we're on to this power strip here if you want to run power tools or whatever like that. I like fixing my van as I travel, so I kept a bunch of tools in here and then have a power strip here to activate them. Before I open up these awesome drawers, we have a little fan here, which is a little bit more, fresh air for whenever you're traveling and sleeping and it's hot, just a little cool air to come. And that comes from underneath the van, which is cool because usually if you're parking somewhere for a while and the sun's not hitting that area, it actually is like one of the colder spots around. So it's actually a great place to draw cool air from. There's also a filter down there that is a dust filter because as you travel, dust will get on the filter, so you have to clean that. So that's one thing about that particular fan. And then there's a shut-off valve right here if you want to keep your the dust from not coming inside whenever you're traveling. So that's pretty cool. Little switch. Now these drawers. These drawers are huge. So much gear fits in there. I had tons of tools. We had wetsuits. We had climbing gear. Whatever you're into. I mean, my partner even has a sewing machine in there. I mean, whatever you're into, there's plenty of storage. These are 6-foot long drawers, 2 of them. So you can just imagine what you can keep in there. And they slide in pretty easily. They do draw each other out because they're empty. If they had some weight in them, they wouldn't pull each other out. But they have these little plexiglass dividers too, which is cool. So it keeps the light easily seen through them and you don't get these dark pockets. So that's pretty much the garage. Yeah, that's pretty much the garage. Again, we have a nice aluminum edge plating here, and that just helps banging and stuff like that. So the few other things I'm going to talk about is just like what's going on top of the van. And what's going on top of the van is that we have 4 solar panels, which gets 400 watts of solar when the sun's good. And then we have a vent fan in the skylight. And besides that, you've seen the inside versions of these things. So besides that, that's pretty much the whole van. One thing I didn't mention that you can see right now though, is that we have white shiplap boards as the walls, and we have really nice cedar as a ceiling, which smells really good. Cedar is really good for moisture control as well. And then the door is another type of cedar up there. The cab door, you saw it was really pretty with a lot of figures in it. And that's it. So thanks for watching. I know it was kind of long, but I hope it was worth it. This is a 2017 Ford Transit, highest roof they make, longest wheelbase they make. Also, it's turbocharged, which is amazing because it just gets it up the mountain, on the interstate, all of that. You can overtake, which is really cool in a big vehicle. It's just fast all around. Yeah, I went over a lot of things, but there's a lot of things to talk more about. So if you want to know more, contact me and you can come and see it if you'd like. It is for sale. So again, I'm Cole, and thanks for watching.